understanding the power of paste options. While the process of cutting and copying is generally pretty simple, pasting is where Excel offers a surprising amount of depth. We aren't limited to the standard Control-V shortcut. We have a variety of methods to control exactly how data lands in a new cell. Because the list of options is quite extensive, I'm going to focus specifically on the ones that I've found to be the most practical for daily work. Setting up the data for our experiments. Let's look at the worksheet so you understand what we are working with. I have a small table here that I've named Main. The columns include the category, sales, discount, and total sales. If you click into the totals column and glance at the formula bar, you will see there is a calculation happening in the background. It's essentially calculating the final amount figure by subtracting a 15% discount. I want to copy this table and paste it to a new location, but I want to show you how different the results can be depending on the method you choose. Pasting formulas without the design. To start, click inside your table and press Ctrl-A to select the entire thing. Then hit Ctrl-C to copy it. Now click on the destination cell where you want the data to go. Instead of hitting Ctrl-V, which would just give us an exact duplicate, we are going to navigate to the Home tab. Look for the Paste button and click in the lower half of it to open the drop-down menu. You might be surprised by how many icons appear here. As you hover your mouse over them, Excel gives you a preview of what that data will look like if you commit to that option. The first option I want to show you is Paste Formulas. When you select this, take a look at the result. It has stripped away all the visual styling from the table. The header style and the borders are gone, and it has even removed the specific number formatting from the sales columns. However, the logic remains intact. If you look at the formula bar, that calculation is still sitting in the background. This is a fantastic method to use when you have data in a table, but you really dislike the original formatting. It allows you to bring over the raw data and the logic while stripping the aesthetics so you can apply your own style from scratch. Preserving formulas and number formatting. Let's try a variation of that. Once again, use Ctrl-A to select and Ctrl-C to copy the source table. Go back to the lower half of the Paste button. This time, choose the option for formulas and number formatting. If you felt the previous option was too aggressive by removing the dollar signs or percentage markers, this is the solution. Notice that this option still ignores the cosmetic formatting, like the header colors and cell borders, but it respects the data types. It pastes the formulas so the math still works, and it ensures your currency and numbers look correct right away. Keeping the column widths intact. Another common frustration when pasting is that the data squish into the default cell sizes of the new location. We can solve that. Press Ctrl-A and Ctrl-C on your original data. In the Paste Options menu, look for the icon that represents Keep Source Column Widths. This option essentially pastes the table exactly as it appeared in the original, but with one major benefit. It forces the columns in the new location to expand or contract to match the exact width of your source table. If you've ever pasted data and then had to manually drag column borders to make the text fit, this is the option that will save you that effort. Removing borders for a cleaner look. Sometimes you want the style of the original table, but without the grid lines. Copy the table again using the same shortcuts. Go up to the Paste options and find No Borders. As you might expect, this keeps your header colors, your fonts, and your number formatting perfectly intact, but it strips away any borders that were applied to the cell grid. It's a subtle change that's useful if you want the data to feel more open on the page. Freezing data with paste values. Now we need to talk about probably the most essential option in this entire list, paste values. Copy the original table with Ctrl-A and Ctrl-C. This time, from the Paste menu, select Paste Values. This option behaves very differently from the others. It removes all formatting, similar to our first example, but it also removes the formulas. If you look at the formula bar for your total column now, you won't see a calculation, you will just see the static number. The totals are correct right now, but there is no math happening in the background. This means if I were to change the discount rate, let's say we changed it to 30%, this pasted table would not update. It is frozen. While that might sound like a disadvantage, you will see later in the course that hard-coding results like this is incredibly useful when you want to lock in a number and ensure it never changes, regardless of what happens to the inputs elsewhere. rotating data with Transpose. Finally, there is a brilliant feature called Transpose. This essentially flips your data on its axis. In our original table, the column headings run across the top and the data runs vertically down the rows. But what if you wanted the headings to be on the left with the data running horizontally across the page? Copy the table one last time. Select a destination cell, go to the lower half of the Paste button, but instead of clicking an icon, go down to the bottom and click Paste Special. This opens the full dialog box. Near the bottom of this window, you will see a checkbox labeled Transpose. Check that box and click OK. Excel immediately switches the layout. Your column headers are now row headers, and your vertical data is now flowing horizontally. It completely reorients the structure of your information. While I suggest you experiment with the other options in the Paste Special menu when you have time, these are the tools you'll likely find yourself reaching for most often.